see them throw a top lane ban, all right? I think you can live with Baiye going Varus. You can, maybe
I'd
live
ban
with Saber.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Bessa or Gwen, whichever one, right? You want to, whichever one you see is the bigger of the two evils, right?
Okay. I mean, they took down Wukong. If you want to first pick Xin Zhao, I think that's fine. Weibo has some options of what to ban here. They could take away the Gwen themselves if they want. We're going to give that, though, with Ambessa up. That has been a matchup that Breathe has been okay to play. So, wondering what the plan is here for Weibo in terms of what they deny is. I'm looking at Vi Xin Zhao right now. If you want to keep the combo up or break it, you can.
Silence, man.
Okay, maybe they're looking for an early Alistar for Crisp.
Does take away a melee from Saber, so maybe not the spin we thought. It does leave Varus up, and Baiye it's going to take the most reliable AD, so kind of a layup of a B1 pick for Ultra Prime given the bans.
I like Xin Zhao here. You can get out of Poke Varus with your Crescent Guard, and you are very powerful in your own right.
Annie's in? Anyone? Any enjoyers?
Maybe. I will say Annie's in is... I like Annie Wukong better. I just think that getting into the Trinity Force is so big, and Wukong damage is so significant. So if you want to go Annie, I mean, I'm almost tempted to, like, find a different pairing here. I think Annie Nocturne's actually pretty real if you want it, but we did call out that at least the Silas ban could lead to an earlier Alistar, and yeah, it looks like that's going to be the plan for Chris, because he's just going to 1-2 that bad boy. And we'll see what kind of response that Ultra Prime has. I mean, with Alistar showing this early, you have a real option to go Braum or Nada and actually show on-hit Varus, but it might be too early in the game to decide if it's on-hit Varus or not, and you don't really want to play on-hit into any Alistar, but they did give away that Xin Zhao at least look, as I saw Poppy and Wukong bans, and yeah, Xin Zhao looked like a champion that was pretty decent in this game. So that's going to be locked up here for Ultra Prime.
Well, we were asking for Saber to get on a melee. This is not necessarily what I was thinking, but hey, Galio, that's kind of a decent lane matchup, right? That is something you were looking for, Cubby. So Galio is a magic damage denier into the Annies in a good spot. We're gonna get the ever reliable and scaling bottom lane here from Light. It may be boring, but it could be efficient.
I like Weibo's draft again.
Breaking
They took
news.
Alistar with Saber. So, like, you don't get to play Saber or Alistar into Saber, which is big too. And now the Braum or Nada that we talked about, like the two biggest supports that can help support non-hit Varus, which just became a lot more relevant because you are playing Galio and you are into Saber. They can take away both the Renata and the Braum and be set up in a pretty decent scenario here. So I once again really like the approach that Weibo took the draft, and do not like how Ultra Prime tried to break it, because I feel like with the Galio now, they really need to go for on-hit Varus, and if I'm Weibo, I just want to find ways to try and play around that.
Cubby, I am getting deathly flashbacks to another game where we had very similar conversations like this, and about...
Oh, they're going to get the Braum, though.
Which way to go with Varus? Oh, yes. Okay, maybe... Hey!
Yeah, that surprises me a bit. I guess the Rakan with the Xin and the Galio, I mean, that is a really big snap engage and a couple melees you can piggyback off of. So they're going to give the Braum. I think Braum Varus is a pairing good. Of course, if you go Braum, you're pretty much showing it's going to be on-hit Varus. You still have the option to just not run on-hit Varus and go poke, but I think with Galio, like, the opportunity to run on-hit Varus goes up a lot. And I just talk about it because we for sure have seen since the Lethality Varus build got nerfed, I think the Varus has been less effective. Like, that's very safe to say.
All right, this is a little bit of a conundrum. It's Gwen. I was gonna say Gwen survives through 2 ban phases, but do you want to pick Gwen into a Galio comp to do double AP again? No, they are gonna let the dog out for, I believe, Tian, and now maybe we will see the Gwen come back out. I don't know. This is a climactic conclusion of this draft, especially if Zhang is able to lock in that Ambessa we were looking for.
It's going to be Ambessa with Galio. Pretty confident about that, as Nefiri makes an appearance. Again, a decent carry pairing with Annie. So Annie's just going to use the CC to hopefully close the gap, and Nefiri can come in and clean things up. As there is a lot of engage showing. I will say that Braum into what's showing. If you pick Braum, I think you really want to go for the on-hit Varus, but I don't think it's the best pick into everything that's showing for Weibos. So I wouldn't mind the Bard here. I think that you are able to
Okay.
pressure the Alistar a little bit more in lane, and if you get Saber Spell Shield off, can be very lethal later on.
Oh, this is going to be fun, though, on the top side. So, Breathe is going to take advantage of the fact that Gwen survives 10 bans, gets through. He's going to R5 that. So, Waybo, a little bit disrespectful with this draft, right? If you take away what this matchup is and how lopsided it is, and you just focus on the draft, this is going to be...
It's a lot of damage.
A lot of damage, but it's picking double AP, knowing there's a Galio.
Yeah, but like, Gwen shreds you later on. It doesn't matter. It's just what matters is you're gonna get CC'd. So, I mean, I don't think that Breathe's gonna be the first target off the rip, but I do think that he's gonna want to really try and ignore Saber in these fights, because if he gets knocked down, Weibo's a squishy team. Like, the only person that can really catch a Galio and is happy about it's Alistar. And I think that could be an issue for Weibo in this game. So I really want to look out for Crisp and Xiaohu. It's a squishy, high damage composition that Weibo has. Crisp needs to be on point and controlling that front line with Xiaohu to make sure that they can stymie some engages to buy some space. Whether it's Crisp catching or Xiaohu just dropping a stun and kind of stopping Ultra Prime in their tracks. Is the Death Ball could be very real for Ultra Prime. Xin Zhao, Galio, and Bessa, they can all piggyback each other in there. They're going to have Varus Galio supporting from the back line, whether it's on hit or poke Varus. Whereas, I think Weibo have to be careful early on, because if they can get death pulled upon. So that's the one concern I'd have if I'm Weibo. But man, if this game goes late, so much damage in their draft, just have to see if they have enough utility to support it.
So we head back to the familiar battle arena once more. Game 2 Gios. They may be one-sided, but bring them on in.
敌军还有30秒到达战场，碾碎他们。
Yeah, still Weibo sided, even if there aren't as many big, crowd pops coming. Just nonetheless, still Weibo got their fans behind them. And the one thing I'm
not gonna flame the AI chart. We're not gonna flame it.
Okay, all right. Gotta get that one out of the way.
We're just gonna ignore it.
What we talked about between, hold on, what sort of shenanigans are brewing down here?
Yeah.
Okay, everyone relax, okay? We have more important things to talk about. No more level 1 shenanigans. What I want to talk about, Cubby, fairly quickly, there's been a lot of differences in champion picks between games 1 and 2, between these two comps. What has been a mainstay is Tian, again on a snowball first jungler, this time maximizing it. The Nefiri has been a very interesting champion when it's come to pro play, from split 2 into split 3. It's a champion that, well, I know some of you at home would love to learn to pilot through your own solo queue games. And, well, if you want to learn how to carry Nefiri like we might see Tian do it in this game, gotta shout out our sponsor, ProDiff. Shout out Music, who can definitely teach you how to play a really nasty Nefiri. You can get his coaching on ProDiff and learn from the best in the NACL, ERLs, and even the LTA. And make sure to show us some love. Use that code. Get yourself 10% off. LPL 10. Shout out to ProDiff. Big sponsor here for Split 3 in LPL English. XiaoXia is definitely making sure this Bard is known by the Weibo bottom lane.
Yeah, I mean, Crisp on that first wave, like, lost 3/4 of his HP. He burned both his pots. It's only the passive now that's going to be sustaining him. I thought Xiaoxia's flash in was a little bit too early. He hit 2, but Baiye didn't have it, so wasn't able to fully follow up there. But yeah, I am curious. Tian, of course, you did highlight the Nefiri. It's quite the scaler, as you really want to get to that 2-item point on Nefiri. And he is going for an early invade now into Junhao. Does have the support of his laners to pull this one off.
That's what you need if you want to look for these invade angles. Tian going after Junhao. Here comes the pack. And they've got a call to make. The call is Gromp should be Tian's, as the Wind Becomes Lightning is going to whiff there from Junhao. So only way he gets back over is a ward that he doesn't have, and he will have to secede his camps.
They do have supports did come up here. So gonna be the blue buff being taken by Xin Zhao, as Bard and Alistar both showed on this side of the map, and Tian gonna work towards his bot side camps, not before chunking. Saber out, so Saber's going to have to TP. Breathe did not match the TP of Zhang, but will now, as he got chunked out. Should have a little bit of a better base, though, which is the idea of why he stuck around. So we'll see if he can get better items in this matchup. She does, but now with the TP coming in, going to be vulnerable to Junhao, who is coming with Bard, and we'll see if Breathes up to it. His wave's in a really tough spot.
This is what we want to see from Ultra Prime, though. Play towards Zhang, get this Ambessa ahead as they go for the 3-on-1. Breeze's going to flash, though, and dash himself back to safety. But safety is only an idea, a construct in his mind, as he will drop for first blood. But the bigger question, what the hell happened bot side?
Tian went in, and it looks like it's a 1-for-1 trade. Baiye TP'd back. They took him down. That wave's shoving against the Varus, so they do set the Varus behind, but at least Baiye was able to trade back kills. I'm sure we're going to get a replay here soon. Boom, look at that, right on time. Okay. How was this managed by Waybo? Okay, that's done cleanly. Chris might have been able to tank one more. Yeah, I think he could have tanked one more. It's a maybe, though. Again, it was pretty low. Didn't have, like, a extra pots. I don't know if he had a biscuit available during that dive, so...
Even then, you would have rather he drops than Tian.
Yeah, also true. Also true. So
a little sloppy, but they do get the gold onto Light, who is a part of that, big scaling threat, and something we'll revisit as this game goes on. Really, both Breathe and Light is, if this game gets a little bit murky, but it lasts long enough, if you get Breathe on those 3 items, get the death cap completed for the Gwen, you get Light onto the IEs, usually the 3rd item for Saber. That's when those champions start to take over games.
Yeah, we'll say off of that, the swap is kind of botched here by Ultra Prime. So Waybo, while we were in the replay, they initiated the swap. It's now just being answered by Ultra Prime on both lanes. So a lot of free time, actually, from both Light and Breathe in the side lanes to kind of catch back up, just based on the swap. And Ultra Prime completely sacked both side waves to actually get the right lane matchup they wanted, which is the Varus and Bard. Into the Saber Alistar, they will punish this matchup early on in the game. Kind of hard, though, that the Varus has already been set behind, because when Saber gets ahead, she just starts to delete waves, and that's her way to kind of cheat her way out of some bad matchups with the control she has over the wave. This is definitely one of them, as she can catch a lot of the waves that Varus pushes with the free prio that he gets mid, just being lethality Varus. Saber kind of free scales off that, and if you're ahead early, you get more AD to try and delete them. So we'll see if Light can kind of cheat his way out of this matchup that is kind of tough in the 2v2.
And it's another way that Light, as you kind of called out earlier in Game 1, can play those facilitator champions well for his squads. Saber with those deleting waves gives you a lot of prio, like we just saw the prio on the Drake go down here for Waybo. Tian does secure it, and Ultra Prime are a little bit too slow to punish them on the way out. So first drag going to be picked up there for Waybo, but I'm glad you highlighted the power of the Saber being ahead for Light will be, because we talk so much about how he can be so successful on those facilitation champions, and that's how Saber can play as a facilitator. Hold on, Chris engage. He'll knock up Saber, but you don't want to go after the Galio. He'll invite you in with the taunt, and Aaron Flash goes from Chris. He gives the kill over to Junhao. They're going after Tian as well. Going to go into the unstoppable form and make sure Junhao does not get that knock up. But no real turn here for Waybo. Just a bit of an errand engage there from Grisp. Oh, Chains Corruption, cleanse. All right, good cleanse check there. Passed by Light.
Yeah, was a little surprised that Waybo signed up for that fight. It went the way I thought it would have went if they did take a fight, which is an Ultra Prime win. Galio at 6 is so scary, especially with not a lot of items in the game. I mean, his base damage is so high. His value is just really good at that time, so... Was a little surprised that Chris decided to go in. And I will say the Grub fight, I think, is very good for Ultra Prime. This is a comp, given that they went poke Varus, they will run out of damage later on. There's no way they get to keep up with the DPS of Waybo. So they're going to have to make sure that their fights are bursty, pokey, or they get picks. But at level 6, I mean, I'm talking later on. I think right now, you throw an Ambessa public execution with a grand entrance over the top, and I like the fight that Ultra Prime can find. So I want to see Waybo kind of play cautiously around the grubs, or even consider sacking it for farm elsewhere. Because a level 6 fight where Ultra Prime has 6s everywhere, I think is a very scary fight for Waybo.
have to see if that manifests, because Ultra Prime for now are trying to set up shop towards the mid side, but the top side is bleeding towards them. Junhao gonna have to pop the Crescent Guard, but low range means that everyone can just get right on top of Junhao. Hero's Entrance hits onto 2, so they're gonna be able to trade Chris back out, but Tian on the wrong side of the fight. That is a way Aaron Tippers coming out from Xiaohu. Isn't gonna stun anybody up, but luckily Tippers is just gonna play the space game, keeping everyone else away from Tian, who does knock down XiaoXia. Baiye and Saber looking for a way back in, but a great dash over the wall from Tian to make sure no knock-up lands. Xiaohu, though, is going to get taunted and shot down by Baiye. Tian looking to weave his way back over towards this Varus, but Saber is looking to play Protector. Good unstoppable form, but Tian just can't really close this gap down. And Saber and Baiye are going to limp out with blinking health bars.
I mean, look, they signed up for that fight. They did take down Junhao first, but the rest of the fight was kind of played, I guess, down numbers for Ultra Prime, given the fact that Junhao went down so early, and they still kind of come out on top. So it will be the grubs afterwards, as TPs are cast to get back on the map. Going to be at least 2 grubs secured here by Ultra Prime. And yeah, I mean, this is fired on the Xin. Like, they get the burst down onto him, but after this... And keep in mind, it's a 3v4, and the champion's Ultra Prime is still pretty strong right now. Chris gets one shot. Xiaohu has an oopsie. That's not the same on-point effect that we saw from the Talia in the last game, for sure.
Luckily, he's going to get tons of reps going forward with that. Dude, good snipe there from Baiye to find that, clip that chain disruption.
I mean, if he hits Baiye with the ult, that could have been a fight changer. Honestly, like, maybe Baiye's not able to actually step up and look for the R into Annie like he did later on. So, bit of an oopsie from Xiaohu as he comes up short with the tippers there, but still Waybo. Their comp scales really hard. And I don't know if the 3 grubs are going to be enough for Ultra Prime to try and start the snowball to prevent that. Saber does have a bit of a lead right now, so we'll see if he can throw his weight around into the double magic damage solo laners. They try and keep on making plays on the Galio, but... when you're playing Galio, I mean, it's all about the early to mid-game, what you can do. Because later on, you don't have the damage to keep up, and Zhong not going to be able to keep up here on the side lane. He's going down.
Breathe TPing in just made it so easy. He'll be picked off there, and there's some
we would have gotten 1v1 anyway. Just about what can you trade.
Hold on, though. Here comes a 4v2. That Timbers lands there for Xiaohu. He's trying to get away from his turret as Chris is going to provide some cushion with the knockups, and he's actually going to catch the guy taking the turret, but the aggro drops alongside the general for Waybo. Good response there from Ultra Prime on the other side of the map.
Yeah, I mean, I think that we're kind of signing up for this. I'm still happier if I'm Waybo. Xiaohu has TP to actually pick up that wave, and while that's going on, I mean, it's Sivir and Gwen getting plates and free waves, so I think in the end, Waybo's still kind of happy coming out of the back of that one. I mean, keep in mind, they need to get items for these damage dealers to make sure that they cannot lose these later fights, because there's a lot of damage coming from the Gwen, the Fury, and Saber. Just going to be about Annie and Alistar holding the line as here we go.
Oh, that's a lot more than Peekaboo. That is a very loud horn sounding from that rush. Junhao, Crescent Guard's going to buy him the space. They should be able to knock down this dragon, but Tian is smelling something sweet here. Maybe it's a steal on Tote. He'll walk his way up towards the pit, try to smite and drive away. He won't get it. Tempered Fate, though, is actually only going to clip Saber. But Execution going to go wide. It's actually going to find Crisp, and that is not the target that Zhong wanted. Hero's Interest going to come out. No knockups found. Saber trying to create space. His light is getting heralded by Junhao. Not going to land through the flash as they try to send the Ambessa wayward. Breathe now having to flash out. And finally, the fight lines will restore themselves back to normal.
Can't fight
yet. A lot more hurt coming down here. Remember, Chris does not have his ultimate up on this Alistar, so he's a lot less tanky. Saber, though, not going to land the Hero's Punch. He's going to get a 3-man taunt down, though, and there is exactly the fire starter that Ultra Prime needed, as Baiye and Saber will clean up the fight. No kills found for Waybo, only Ultra Prime here.
Look, that wasn't even a clean fight for Ultra Prime, but the fact we're fighting at this point of the game still means that Ultra Prime finds the win. Because the Ambessa Galio combo doesn't connect. It wasn't a big connection to start the fight off. It's just that Waybo cannot fight at this point of the game with the comp they've drafted.
Just disrespecting.
Yeah, also Crisp isn't 6. So, I mean, again, look at this fight from the Ultra Prime perspective. They are the stronger comp right now. Do they execute this? They find Alistar in the back half? No. They're too split. Like, this engage is too deep. They can't play a cohesive team fight. The positives are that Junhao does force out light, and then this reset from Waybo, like you said, the battle line's kind of naturally reset here. Yeah, I mean, Waybo's just not strong enough. They don't have the items, they don't have the levels, they don't have the damage yet. So Ultra Prime, they have the utility gap, they have the tankier champions, they get to keep on kind of throwing themselves in here. And yeah, they set up for a pretty good fight for Baiye to rotate out a lot of those spells. Is now Xiaohu.
Ooh, really
Gotta drop the Tibbers to get out of there, yeah.
Like to see the pace Ultra Prime are playing at, though. Recognizing
need it.
exactly what we were talking about, Cubby. Yeah, they cannot afford to slow down in any aspect. And while they are up ahead right now, you know, potentially sniffing feats of strength if they can get this first turret down with the grubs, needs to keep the ball rolling, need to build larger leads, and maybe try and set yourself up when Octagon comes around in about 5 minutes to be in a really decisive spot. Because I feel like that is what will really decide whether Ultra Prime are just going to run this game over, or Waybo are going to have more time to play for those items.
Look at this. Saber of Justice. Yes, Galio is technically a melee champion.
It counts.
It does. Maybe we should see what his win rate is playing supports versus actual mids, but you know, that's fine.
It's called Justice Punch, not Justice Bow and Arrow.
True.
All right.
And he's punching his way to 4-0-2. We'll see if he can keep it up. He's surviving this dive pretty well. He's buying a lot of time.
Oh, the double stun from XiaoXia. Chris finally has ultimate unlocked and immediately going to use it. He's going to actually cleanse and change corruption and turn it on its head. Baiye
That's a one-way
going to get stunned up, but look at the tempered fate on the backside. XiaoXia makes sure nobody else can come through this passageway. And Chris will pay for the sins of his team's really intriguing dive.
I mean, they just waited for the Unbreakable Will to phase out, and then they put the cow out to pasture, man. That was... They just kind of like let him run around, tire himself out, do his own thing. They couldn't pull out the dive, but then afterwards, it was just doomed.
So how doomed is this game looking for Waybo?
And they just need time. Like, they aren't respecting their own strength.
Right now?
I mean, if this game goes to 40 minutes, they win. I don't care what the gold graph looks like, frankly.
True.
Look, this game, again, Annie and Alistar, that's the only CC utility they have. Everything else is damage. That damage is not online yet. Waybo's looking for the fights in these windows where they don't have the damage. They're playing these like multiple rotation spell fights where it really is just Ultra Prime that are stronger now. Like Waybo, for me, have kind of signed up for their own demise, and we're seeing some of the mistakes that we're used to seeing from Waybo and what we've seen out of Group Ascension kind of come to fruition in this game against Ultra Prime, which is like not respecting the comp they've drafted, the windows and the timers that they have. I think that's issues that Waybo have really had a lot this year, especially this split. And yeah, I don't think they respected what their own draft wants to do in this game, Slayer. Like, I would have never fought that second dragon with his draft on paper, and we did see, even despite a not a very clean fight from Ultra Prime, they still were able to win that one out pretty easily against Waybo, just because that's not a timer that their comp wants to fight.
Comp diff. So knowing all that, though, Cubby, looking forward to these next couple of minutes, what can Waybo afford to give away, right? You know, next dragon, sure, but Octagon's in about 3 minutes, and
yeah, don't give away everything but Octagon.
Okay.
Screw this dragon. I mean, if I'm Waybo, I'd much rather have Gwen or Saber on that top side to make sure I'm funneling resources into like one of those damage dealers, but I guess we'll take what we can get right now. As Xiaohu's up there. We'll see if he even burns a TP to try and contest this. They do have vision over the objective, but I don't think this is a fight they want. As, yeah, they're going to give it. Waybo's in full catch mode right now.
Trying to lean into the power of light disintegrating these mid waves, and like you called out, just catching up on waves. Like to get Xiaohu in a better spot. Breathe coming online. So it's going to be the real it's going to be the race, right? It's the race versus Ultra Prime busting open this game, whether that be Octagon, maybe a big fight win, get some turrets down, and just watching the inventories of Waybo members. Because like Cubby's pointed out, 1.5 items on Sivir and Gwen and the Fury. That is not going to cut it at this for what Waybo need to do at this point in the game. So just keep an eye on those items, see what ends up coming through here. but the clock is ticking. Of minute 45. We already got to start thinking about Octagon setups, and we're hoping that Ultra sells out towards that side of the map.
Yeah, and look, if I'm Waybo around Octagon too, like, you don't want to give that one for free, but we have seen Octagon, especially this past weekend, be botched by a lot of teams around the globe.
Side landing looking a bit botched here for Zhang, but you know what solves all ailments? A giant statue man flying down from the sky to save you. More accurate Galio right there.
Waybo did lose both ultimates on their solo laners here, so that means they can't defend the turret as Tempered Fate comes in. Chris gonna have to pop that ultimate to run out.
Oh, Crisp. How many times will you send this guy out to pasture? Oh, wait, maybe he's getting a forever home the way he flashed out of that engage. Chris survives this time, but Herald's in the pocket of Ultra Prime and Bear, looking to cash in a tier 2 turret. Get the crash in.
Just give me a crash, yeah.
Yeah, just a crash. But hey, you know what's bigger here, Cubby? Complete control of this bottom jungle with Octagon less than a minute away.
Yeah, and honestly, I mean, the biggest win is the fact that Breathe and Xiaohu have just been splitting this lane too, off that play that Waybo attempted. So I know that the response from Ultra Prime cost them their own ultimates, but they still went out in the back half as Shelly was dropped and gets a good chunk into the inner. And as you called out, Octagon set up. It's around the bot lane and Ultra Prime as they clean up this wave. At least are the stronger comp on paper right now. We'll see if they can get Saber to base again. He does have TP, and I assume he's going to have a Riftmaker for the next time he goes back. So I'd like to be as strong as possible with this Octagon fight and then try to fight a clean one. Because giving away Octagon to Waybo's comp is going to be quite dangerous. That XP bomb that it drops, so whatever team that picks it up and gets all the flowers is... That's a concern. It's a hell of a comeback mechanic if you do not play Octagon cleanly. And it's tough between the resistance shred. I mean, we've seen a lot of chaotic Octagons around the world. This objective is yet to be nerfed, you know?
Nerf further, right? Oh, okay. Nerf the Annie there, getting the flash out of Xiaohu. Is Chris is again just the bull with a bull's eye on the back of him. Taking up a lot of the damage here. Crisp is not going to survive long enough because he once again loses his Alistar ultimate and eats a piercing arrow. Crisp going to go down. And Ultra Prime can take the Octagon, and an uncomfortable conversation must be started here for Waybo. Can we really invest into this darkness, 4 versus 5, to shut down this take?
Oh, they saw Mbessa. They did see the Mbessa.
Oh, but they didn't see Junhao engaging on top of Xiaohu. The knockup lands on the Galio, and there's no way for Annie to play this game out. There's no way for Breathe to ever get in with this Gwen, but my god, the bouncing blades from Light, along with Octagon, and the pack. Saber goes down to Octagon. MVP to Octagon for Waybo.
All right, well, Ultra Prime, I mean, they have good damage with the poke of Varus, but the matching of the DPS for the Gwen Sivir, we saw the AoE and the damage they can do with only 2 items in the inventory for each. They lose Octagon off that.
I need a slow-mo replay because I'm kind of dumbfounded to see what...
It was so good until it wasn't.
But what does all this back... I know Octagon drops resistances, but I'm really curious what did all this extra AoE damage.
It was ricochets. It was ricochets, and it was a Q3 and a needlework from Breathe. Well, let's look at it again. I mean, this is good. Xiaohu is level 11, no flash. This is a freebie. As they take him down, and then look at this. It's just going to be the bouncing blades from the Sivir, the needlework from the Gwen. That's 2 big ones. The third one even bigger. As, yeah, that's pretty big from Breathe. That, and, of course, those bouncing blades hitting everyone from Light. And, again, the Octagon now picking that up. Look at Xiaohu. Look at his XP. He was level 11 there. He's halfway to 13 now. As Waybo have the XP advantage across the board, giving the Octagon secure. They took this dragon, which means they've evened up the Drake score. They're only down 1k gold. And given where the comps are at, I mean, I'm happier being them right now. I'd rather be in Waybo's shoes just after that Octagon take, and that's it. Because look at my Sivir. Like, this Sivir is going to be so big from here. Serpent's Fang already on the Defiri. I mean, Tian is huge. He's been kind of having a quiet game, but he's at 3 items. He's scaled. Gwen's at 2 items. She's scaled. I think I'm kind of fine now if I'm Waybo. Yes, you have a, you know, it's a little bit less CC, less utility, less setup in your composition, but I don't care about that when I have a Sivir and Gwen late game. I'm shredding people. especially a melee-heavy comp like this. And I think their game state, just after that Octagon and one misstep from Ultra Prime, is relatively fine.
Oh, how the turntables. That is... That's what is screaming out to me from your eloquent breakdown there, Cubby. You kind of stole the thunder from your 80 carry play-by-play. Yeah, guys, this Saber, we're a couple hundred gold away from IE, and those bouncing blades actually finding kills onto that melee-based composition from Ultra Prime. And thank God it came in the final hour, because Waybo were really struggling, like you mentioned. The Octagon just such a saving grace. And the fact that Xiaohu, yes, it's been a rough game for the Annie, not needing to be a huge damage source is going to provide a lot of value, that he can just be a stun bot as this game goes on. Chris is going to take another chunk, but he's able to hold on to his ultimate and his summoners, so
yeah,
not going to mean a lot. And
that's progress, baby. He did it all.
There's nothing down here, too, for Ultra Prime really be defending, but Tian needs to be careful where he's recalling. Good thing he used the Unstoppable to get some space.
Ooh, that was a good play, actually, by Junhao. They got Unbreakable Will, Saber's ult as well. Tian and Crisp have to go back, so that should be the bot inner turret falling. Breathe has to drop the needlework now to defend. And that will be enough to cut the wave and make sure that they cannot take the turret. So, Waybo, it was a couple of their camps, so they pretty much just reset the map from here. And they actually might be able to threaten mid-outer now, as that tempo burned and lost here by Ultra Prime.
So how do these fights look winning going forward here for Ultra Prime? You talk so much about how the scaling has come through.
I'd say
fight approach can, yeah, okay, can overcome this. That's what I want.
Yeah, like public execution one-shot in the back line, if they are able to get a big grand entrance for the Galio, which they have a lot of setup for it. That or picks from the Bard. I mean, you can always get funky when you have Bard in the game. Maybe you can find numbers advantages for yourself. A lot of ways to make fast plays. As they're going to look here.
Tian's been on point with channeling that.
Okay. Oh, that's
light.
Big, though.
There we go. XiaoXia's getting funky.
He
bringing
missed
Duff
the
Funk with those ultimates like Daft Punk. But yeah, the music's over here for XiaoXia.
They did get Light's Flash, so that's a big cooldown.
Flash clouds.
But XiaoXia missed the frame perfect Q, I think. You can do on Bard if you hit the ult. So good find on Light. I mean, they took a big summoner spell away from him before this upcoming soul point. BF for each Drake, because yeah, we're gonna get a replay here. It was spell shield used on the public execution, and then the chain came down after. I don't even think that tempered fate was that good.
Didn't need it.
He did not need it. It delayed the damage, if anything. I think they could have killed him if that doesn't come down.
It's definitely a bang bang play, right? Like
no, I think they kill him to come down. Yeah.
But you don't know if the chains are gonna land, and you just kind of want to throw. I could see how you could just kind of commit all these ults just to hopefully hold Light's place.
If he threw it at the turret and not the enemy player, would have been better. You know, could have continued the dive.
That's a good point, though. That's a good point.
Yeah.
Just the small little like group Nirvana-esque mishaps that.
Hey man,
really
not everyone can be Busio. All right, it just is what it is. Not everyone's the Bard God. It's fine.
But those little mishaps is what, again, in the play-in stage, hurt you the most. And in Group Nirvana, it was like, oh, yeah, sure, better luck next time, champ. No, there is no next time. So Ultra Prime, who have played this game out much better than the series started, really need to hone in and commit to these one-shots that Cubby likes.
I think they need this Drake. If they don't get this Drake, I think that's just game. I mean, if they get this, they can at least threaten the Hextech Soul and close the scaling gap. If not, though, you're buying 5 minutes for Saber, Gwen. We know what these champs can do, so I think this is important for up. And they have full control so far, Slayer.
Like, though, Infinity Edge has been completed. 3 items on Tian as well. It's the darkness that molds the game plan for Ultra Prime right now. And yep, Waybo going to take the much more patient approach. They're going to give Hextech Soul Point over to their counterparts.
I think this is the right call. I just don't see a way that you find like a losing scenario in 5 minutes here if you're Waybo. And you just get 5 more minutes of items in your inventory, and I'd rather sign up to flip that fight than flip this one where I just don't think it's necessary for him. So Waybo going to be happy to drop that, and play the map okay, and continue to scale on up. Breathe. I mean, by the next fight, you gotta believe that Annie's gonna have access to stasis too. You're gonna have a completed Zanya's on Breathe if he wants to, if he has to use the Seekers at all. He's gonna have that by the next fight. You're gonna actually have a support item available for Crisp, who is just, I mean, this is C-grade meat that we have on our screen right now. We're 28 minutes in, and this brother doesn't even have a locket or redemption.
Waybo need to be careful, though, with how much space they're giving around this Baron pit. What shut down their dragon look was this very problem, that this is a very deadly comp to walk into from Ultra Prime. You can eat a Bard Stun at any point. You can eat a Galio Taunt, and Bessa comes flying out of the woodwork. So I like to see they're kind of grouping up, and they're saying, all right, Ultra Prime, you don't get to turn the lights out, all right? You're not the power company. We're going to set some vision up and to make sure that you can't find any real shenanigans to ruin our scale party.
And you could even see, I mean, just this poke from Tian now. He's able to kind of fish around with the Fury at 3 items. Has a lot of ability haste to keep on fishing. That's a nice. Oh, wait, Crisp. Okay.
All right, that's Alistair ult out.
I mean, Tian, like, is pretty much solo on the front line now. Finding poke, though. And between being able to go invulnerable and then, you know, do these flips, he's going to be okay. As Crisp, importantly, was able to finish his support item, the first item that he has completed his inventory, before the 30-minute mark, Slayer. So he's feeling good. We'll see if Breathe can feel good now. He's got no turrets.
No more Chris conversations because Breathe is being suffocated right now. But it's Tian that's able to cover for Zhang. He's the ball execution. There's that stasis coming down. The hero's entrance is going to land the knock, but the Tempered Fate locks everybody golden. The taunts come across, and Zhang is able to come out on top. But here's Light showing up to the fight. Pops the on the hunt, and look at this disgusting Sivir damage from Light. Just like that, he finds himself 3 kills, and he's hungry for more. Saber has to flash away from Chris just to make sure there's no angle to chase down Baiye. But Tian with the pack looking, won't find it with his low HP bar. It's a Light to the rescue as, again, Waybo looking a bit sloppy in these fights.
Look, I think finding a fight where it's Ambassa and Galio away from the Sivir is fine. You can make side lane plays with this, but we saw Ultra Prime kind of overextend again. Once they use those ults and those gap-closing tools, you're going to get mowed down. I mean, that's before the Sivir even comes in, but they kind of run out of steam in the back half. I think it's actually quite good that Tian catches this. It got DPS away from Breathe, so Breathe's able to make sure that he gets all 3 casts that they need to work off. I don't know if he gets that down if Zhang doesn't TP into the backline there, as we have Galio not quite able to sync up. It was a hit there on the Tian, on the stun from XiaoXia, but that flash makes it a one-way trip. And Tian's able to get out, and then, of course, Light melted everyone in the back half, but we didn't really see Ultra Prime, again, fully connect on this opener, and things continue to slow down.
No dive. We're just going to get rid of the turret. Hey, now it's just a fight, and Saber is gone. The Tempered Fate's a little bit too late. Not going to land for Chris as well onto Zhang. The 2-pointed spear forward for Ultra Prime's early game win have now been taken down right in front of the Baron pit. And Ultra Prime beginning to really split apart at the seams as the scale-heavy threat weighs on them. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, now as Waybo, it's just, can we kill this before Dragon's available? They're going to hit it. You can see Junhao's basing right now, so this is going to be Baron given and a race to get to the Hextech Soul. I will say, I mean, if you're Ultra Prime, you'll give Baron for Hextech Soul. You will. You're still down control on the map. I think that you have time with the Baron to get a base off, a shop, and then reset with the Hextech portals to get here in time, which Waybo will do, and I don't know if Ultra Prime can secure this, and if not, you are officially outscaled. You are now down in gold. You have lost your advantage in this game, and I don't know if they play their way back into this one.
They're not able to be the first to the race for this Dragon, but it feels like Ultra Prime need to go for something. This comp is not designed to sit back and let the game come to them. They've got a Galio, they've got a dive threat, and they've got a Bard. So they need to find creative angles, but they're making the tough call to give Hextech Soul, and Like you pointed out, Cubby, they might have just given away game 2 with it.
I mean, look, like, from the last Dragon to this one, Saber built an LDR and got a BF sword. Like, that's such a big difference. And I do want to credit Waybo for dropping that Soul Point Dragon, like dropping that 5th Drake in the game. I think that was the right call for them with their comp. Because, again, I know they've gotten Baron and a little bit of extra gold out of the Map Slayer, but look at what a buzzsaw it is now to walk through the Saber, the Gwen at this point of the game. It got so much worse for Ultra Prime in that time. Weibo knew what they drafted, and despite some of their earlier errors, maybe taking fights a little bit too early in this game before they were strong, they made the right call later on to get the comp to where it is now, which is going to be really tough for Ultra Prime to beat.
Siege beginning here with the Baron powered up and just trying to maybe get Light in position. You layer those bouncing blades with the minion wave. Can really start to show how much damage this Sivir does, but Weibo are being a bit sloppy with this setup. You can see the top wave is completely out of sorts, and Xiaohu has to swing around to catch the mid wave a bit late, so they can't really get that 4-1 in prime position. So for the time being, I don't think Weibo can force this first inhibitor turret down just yet.
Yep, just going to take the inner as Tian, the extra puppers. And you can see him fishing with those darkened daggers now. I mean, if he hits on both with the puppers helping clean him up now, that's Junhao quite low. So I do really like Tian's build this game. I think Serpent's Fang was a good call just to help deal with that little extra mileage that might be the shielding.
On top of the fact that the GA also, you talked about how makeshift the front line is, you can play a little bit more like a front line, the Fury, knowing that you'll be able to res back up. There's one of those quirky tempered fates that we were looking for XiaoXia.
That's turret
not
dead.
going to make its mark, so
that's
there's the turret
now
down.
too.
Inhib dead. Right behind it, 2 inhibs dead down for Waybo.
Yeah.
If
If
go
you're
back
not,
and spend more gold.
I actually would not have minded if Ultra Prime kind of looked for a fight or a skirmish there, because Baron's up. If you're able to stall out that turret take, then maybe you can get them to base and reset when their Baron despawns, which did happen on this wave. But no, they give, and, well, when you aren't going to fight under the turret, then why fight under the inhibitor? So, 2 inhibs gone, and again, Ultra Prime, I mean, things just getting worse and worse for them as this game continues Slayer. We haven't even really talked about the Ambessa scaling. It just doesn't matter into the face of the Gwen, the Fury, and the Sivir, especially. As Light has that GA now, so if you want to win, you got to play through 7 lives that are showing for Weibo, and that's quite tough.
And I want to revisit something you brought up earlier when I asked, how do Ultra Prime fights work now with the scaling starting to come online? You said one-shots. You can look at some of these last completed items that just make that impossible, right? We've got Stasis on Gwen, we've got GA on a Fury and Sivir. So this one-shot really can't ever really come around. As they look for an engage there onto Light, but he's able to flash, cleanse himself back out of safety, and now the front to back can look. It's actually going to be a flash from Saber to land a taunt, and they are going to be able to burn down Light. Stasis is galore come out, but Light survives. The damage cannot get close enough despite how low these health bars are. The GAs, like we talked about, coming up, so there's no one-shot threat from Ultra Prime. It's just another untargetable flash dash as Tian once again dances with death and wins.
Tian's GA was burned. That's the only life taken off of Weibo as they wipe the fight. And the scaling comp for Weibo, it worked out. They made a couple of poor decisions to fight early with some good play from Ultra Prime, but Weibo, they dug deep. And they made this game, I think, look pretty one-sided in the end, frankly.
They learned to respect their opponents and respect the comp they've drafted, but when it was their time to shine, there was no one brighter in the late game stage than Weibo, who are 1 game away from another playoff berth.
And I gotta say, for Weibo, like, I think that I could, as a Weibo fan, maybe build or take a little bit of confidence away from that game. I know the Ultra Prime is the worst opponent, guys. But at least for Weibo, I do think that at times they struggled to identify what their comp does or is supposed to do. And we saw that in this game. I thought that some of the earlier fights they took, especially around, what was it, the 3rd or 4th dragon that spawned, that was off. Like, they lost that, and there was no way they were going to win that fight, just given where their champs were at. I think after that, they made a lot of good decisions in this game to buy themselves some time, get to the point where the comp did scale and did look invincible, and then clean the game up from there. So, I know it's against a worse opponent, but for me, I actually saw a couple positives from Weibo out of that game, and how they played from behind against Ultra Prime.
So I want to go back to that scale that we haven't really found a name yet for, Cubby. We might not find a name, but you know what I'm talking about, right? The 10 being contending for LPL finals.
Still at a 6.
You're still at a 6?
Yeah, it did not change from that game. I
No
think
change.
the early game, in a way, like they fixed some of the issues that happened later on, like for themselves. But yeah, that was it.
Okay, so no movement. Is there some movement on the bottom lane conversations that we had? We were asking a lot of Crisp and Light, who have been majorly off across all of the Rumble stage, I would say. I do think this is going to end up being a Light MVP. So are you any more inspired about Light and Crisp in this game? I feel like Crisp had a really good game 1, and now Light had a pretty stellar game 2.
I know Light plays against Saber. Crisp was a bit of a griefer in the middle of that one, but hey,
Yeah.
he was solo front on his Alistar, and Waybo wanted the fight, and they couldn't yet. So I think Crisp kind of, whether it was his calls or the team calls, he fell behind in that one. I don't know if I can take confidence like for Light and Crisp in this. I don't think they did anything that was particularly too special. So I know that we're looking for this bot lane to really step up if Waybo wants to make a run. I just don't know if we can really judge them against this bot lane, because we talked about the top side of Ultra Prime being what we felt like was a better than where they were placed in Group Nirvana top side. Like Zhang had a good split. Junhao was a pretty decent jungler. I thought we saw them make some okay plays in this game. We didn't talk about the bot lane though of Ultra Prime, because that bot lane was kind of the reason they were the 4th seed in Group Nirvana in middle of the pack, right? They struggled. Like Baiye's not a fantastic support. XiaoXia is the support that was found for Ultra Prime, as they kind of had a rotating door down there throughout the year. Light and Crisp, I expect fully to be better than these guys, and I think we've seen that so far. I need to see out of Light and Crisp just more consistency. And again, Crisp did struggle that game just because Waybo took some fights early that they probably weren't ready to take yet, and Ultra Prime definitely punished them.
Maybe it's my love of marksman players as one myself, but I do think Light has done very well with what's been asked to do across these 2 games. Sivir's never a champion where there's anything flashy about her, right? She's very mundane in the sense that if you're playing Sivir correctly, early to mid game, you're rarely on screen because you're just deleting waves as the camera pans away and you're waiting for those items to come across. And while you mentioned Waybo got a bit, quirky with disrespecting fight timers with their comp, Light was never really caught. Light was, maybe had to burn some summoners early. Maybe should have died if a Tempered Fate looks a bit different. But he ends up going deathless. He ends up buying time, getting to his 3rd item quicker than I would say we anticipated, seeing how the game state was, and running over their opponents. So I think Light deserves a lot of credit, even if it was kind of an easy job to accomplish with the champion he drafted. He did it quicker than his boss expected, being me.
That's somewhat true. I do think that this fight gave a lot of opportunity to Light and Breathe to, hop back into the game, as they really made the most out of that little skirmish around Octagon. And again, Octagon, I think Octagon's so incredibly strong as an objective, guys. Like, how many games have we seen just decided by Octagon, whether it's you starting it at the wrong time and the resistance melt being a factor, or a team taking Octagon, using the bonus stats and especially the bonus XP that they get to get back into the game and stabilize things from there. That's quite big, as we have been talking through the 2 replays that really shaped this game. As we saw, the Octagon was the first, and this one, I just would say not the best take from Ultra Prime in the end. I know the Tempered Fate layering was a little bit weird. We didn't really talk about that one. Definitely was a little bit funky there in that as well, but yeah, just Ultra Prime couldn't quite get this quick comp across the finish line with the Death Ball, and now they're staring down the expected position that we had for them coming into the game at 2-0, as Waybo is up and looking to take care of business in the 3rd game.
For as much as we talk about Zhang and Junhao with Ultra Prime, I do think this was a very good Galio game from Saber, even in that last fight.
Yeah, Saber was not the problem this game.
No, and even in like those impossible fight scenarios of the end game, right? I think he did a good job threatening Light. He got him to flash, he got him to cleanse, you get him down to nearly pop his GA, basically as just the Galio. There was not much more you could ask for from him on that pick, and I hope they just lean fully into his melee nature, try and get him maybe an Akali game. Silas, if there's a good angle for Silas. Something like that, because Saber, he rarely is invisible in games when he's able to get a melee champion in his hands.
Yeah. Look, I do think that Saber, if Ultra Prime is going to go down, I would like to see him go down with the Akali or Yasuo in his pockets. As we'll see if he gets the melee in the last game. But Tian with the Pog. Producer Adam was right. He had it over us. The Nefiri was pretty on point for the majority of the game as Tian. That poke from the Darkened Daggers later on was pretty significant, and I thought Tian played a lot of those fights well. So the Nefiri, usually not a champ we see in game 2, but hey, was a found pairing with the Annie here and paid off for Waybo.
Paid off indeed. They invested in the scale index on the League of Legends stock market and cashed in big to a game 2 win. And Waybo now find themselves just one final match on Summer's Rift away from another playoff berth. We'll go to an intermission on the other side, see if Ultra Prime can get a little bit funky, get a little bit creative, find some way to get some juice back into their series, or if we've got a sweep on our hands. All that and more coming at you in a couple of minutes.